Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out my first new Mazda on my channel. It's very exciting. 2019 Mazda CX-5 signature all-wheel drive. This vehicle is sitting on 225/55 Toyo tires wrapped around 19-inch alloy wheels with a really nice satin finish. Very impressive looking. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color is Machine Gray Metallic. And the sun is shining today, and this has a really nice finish. Mazda did a really good job with this paint job, I think. So if you can, hopefully the camera will do it justice, but it looks really nice. So here in the front, you can see it has a big Mazda emblem here, concealing the radar adaptive cruise control sensor just behind it. You have that chrome section there in the center portion, disconnected from the upper lip of the hood. Parking sensors across the front. And check out this grille. Very interesting, fancy looking gloss black. A lot of angles and just a lot to soak in there when you really get close to the vehicle. From a distance, it just kind of fades into black into the grille. But when you get close, it's like, hey, this is pretty neat. Then the flat black portion there at the very bottom. Headlights are in projector tubes and they're active bending, so they actually move as you turn the steering wheel. And if you want to really get into a lot of information with the lighting of this vehicle, I have a separate video dealing with just the lighting. It's really nice. It looks cool at nighttime. So it has a LED headlight system and daytime running lights, but the turn signals are powered by standard bulbs. Fog lights are also LEDs. Now this vehicle has cameras all the way around. There's one here hidden underneath the badge, one in the back, and one underneath each side mirror. And I'll show you what that does when we get inside the vehicle. So looking at the profile, it's all body colored, handles, side mirror, all that, except for this trim around the base. So just like the front, you have this trim around here, around the wheel wells and at the base of the vehicle, kind of protecting the paint while you're driving from road debris. Also, the doors go all the way down to the bottom, so that keeps the road debris from the tires from getting into the area in which you're stepping in, the threshold area, to keep your clothes from getting dirty from when you get in and out of the vehicle. I think that's pretty cool. Also, you have this gloss black pillar there, and it kind of solidifies the glass, especially if you were to tint the front glass. It would really solidify it. And then you have the chrome accent that kind of underscores the glass there, and it thickens up there across the back, looking pretty cool. This is what the key looks like. It's a proximity key system. It's quite narrow and but it's thick, fairly easy to carry around with you. Has the lock and unlock buttons, the ability to open up the power liftgate, and a panic button. Now this vehicle has a very, very loud horn. So let's go ahead and push that, and if you have headphones on, you better be prepared. It is very, very loud. So when you lock the vehicle, if you were to lock it the first time, push the lock button, it locks and everything, gives you a little bit of a beep. But if you keep pressing that button, it'll beep at you, and if you're standing right in front of the vehicle, it is loud. It's amazing how loud that horn is. But basically, the key is designed where you can just keep it with you. It could be in a bag, in your pocket, as long as it's on the outside of the door, either driver or passenger in the front here. You can lock or unlock the door by pushing this button. So right now it's locked, push it, it unlocks. It allows you access to the vehicle. You also have a physical key location here on the driver's side only. This is what the threshold looks like, where you can see where the door goes all the way down. There's even a seal there at the base of the door. Okay, so the inside of the passenger side door, really nice. It has a combination of black and a really dark, kind of a chocolate brown. They call it Couture brown. Has a stitching and a French design here. and here. And most of the door is soft touch, so we have soft touch here, here, here. Now these aren't super soft, but they are soft to the touch. They bottom out quite quickly. This one's a little bit softer right here. Of course, that's the armrest, so it should be, but it's very narrow. It's not very wide, so if you have big arms or whatever, spend a lot of time in the gym, then it may not be wide enough. You have a nice wide pocket there at the bottom and a bottle holder. There's some gloss black around the controls, so they're gonna have to carry a microfiber cloth to keep it clean. And has a little bit of a chrome trim there and some wood grain. And there's one of the speakers, Bose sound system, a really, really good sound system in this vehicle. Power seat here on the passenger side, and go up and down and tilt and all that stuff. But of course the driver's seat is going to one-up this seat, but we'll show you that in just a second. So you can see these leather seats, they go directly against that plastic, so there's no soft cloth until you get back here. Couture brown seats, heated and ventilated, 3-stage heated and ventilated seats. Very comfortable and easy to get positioned on. There's not huge bolsters or anything trying to squeeze you into a particular place. Pretty significant amount of legroom here on the passenger side, but we'll get into the legroom on the driver's side in a minute. You have more of that wood grain here on the dash. So soft touch, soft touch, soft touch, and then you get the hard plastics down here. Glove compartment has a soft landing, it's felt lined. Kind of small, but not bad. Transitioning here to the back, but you can see the front door has a nice wide open space. The back door, not quite as wide getting in, but they did allow the back door to swing out a little bit wider than the front door just to make that easier to get in. Inside of the rear door, similar styling as the front. Soft touch here, 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 and here. And then you have the hard touch surfaces at the bottom. This is enclosed to where you can put stuff in there as a little pocket, and then of course you have the larger pocket there. You even have the wood grain and the chrome there as well, and the stitching. All right, so there's your threshold. So you can see that wheel well hump there getting in the way when you're getting in and out of the vehicle. Now this is basically a bench seat that you can fold down the back in a 60-40 split. Actually, it's a little bit more advanced than that. I'll show you that when we get to the cargo area. But these are heated seats, 3-stage heated seats with the latch system for the car seats, of course. You have pockets on both front seats, on the back of both front seats. Maybe leg room there that's interrupted by a nice significant hump here in the center portion. And it has the rear vents. Now the center armrest folds down. You have your heated seat controls, cup holders, and this opens up, revealing a little pocket with USB ports, charge ports. That's always convenient. Taking a look at the back, it has a body-colored shark fin antenna there at the top right here, and then the third brake light is at the top of the glass. It does have a rear wiper as well. The tail lights are a combination of LED and standard bulbs. The backup camera is offset, and this is also shared with the 360 type camera, so it's very significantly offset, and you can see when you look at the backup camera on the screen, and I'll show you that when we get on the inside. Parking sensors across the back, just like the front. Has dual exhaust tips, looking pretty nice. Most everything back here is body colored, except for the emblem, and then you have this little seal plate, I guess you can say, in the threshold. So let's go ahead and open up the lift gate. So there's a button under here that you can push, or you can of course use the key. So there's two buttons under there. One is to open it up. The one on the far right is to lock the vehicle. Does have a light under here, just one. And some little holders here, hangers. Interesting place to put them. Okay, so here's your cargo space, and pretty good amount overall. It does have a slant there across the back to where tall things would be limited, but just in general, I would say it's pretty good. There's these little spots here on the side that you can put some stuff. 12-volt power supply here on the right side that's directly connected to the battery. You see a little battery on there, so that way it's even powered when the vehicle's off. Can put a shade back here if you'd like. There's another little storage cubby on this left side. You have tie downs. You don't want to confuse those with the anchor for the car seats. We're actually on the back of the seats here. And this lifts up, revealing the full diameter spare tire and tools. It also has kind of big mixed in here is the subwoofer, which sounds fantastic. Now this piece right here, you can take it out if you really wanted to, but generally it just kind of lays in here. It doesn't snap in place, or it's not really secured in any way. Now you can fold these seats down. So basically it's a 60-40 split. There's the split there, but you notice there's another split here. Now this one, this little mini portion disconnects from this seat if you'd like to do that separately. But in general, these fold down together, and then this one folds down separately. So that way you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. So let's say we want to fold down this one seat and still have these other seats. You can use this latch right here. Now the thing about this is that you have to have the front seats pulled up far enough, which is, you have to have them quite far for this to even work. So if I have the seat in my driving position, the seat's not going to go all the way down. But anyways, here's how you do it. You just pull that, and it kind of flops down. And you notice it goes down quite fast. So if there's anything in the seat or anything, it's going to get squished. Here on the left side, so let's go ahead and we have these two latches here. Let's pull this one, because so now it disconnects that seat and folds it down. Now, and last but not least, we can fold this one down, and it kind of doesn't flop down as fast. But anyways, you can see that you have options here. You can have just the center down and have some long box in the center, skis or whatever, and then you can just, depending on your needs, add to your cargo space while still maintaining passenger space. Has a locking fuel door, and the fuel door is on the driver's side, which is nice, and some people consider it a safety hazard if it's not on the driver's side. Has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap here on the inside of the door. As long as you have the key inside the vehicle, it could be in your pocket, in a bag, sitting in a cup holder, whatever. You just put your foot on the brake, hold it, and push this button to start it up. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat snaps in place in two places, here and here, but that's not it. It also has like a material, like a Velcro, similar type Velcro type material, keeping that mat from sliding around and wrinkling up on you. Here's the accelerator, brake pedal. Now you notice that the accelerator pivots all the way to the bottom, so that way it keeps things from getting underneath it. There's a footrest here on the left side, but you notice it's just carpeted. It doesn't have any kind of plastic protection. Probably be a good idea to upgrade the floor mats in this vehicle. Let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch about right here in the center, and if you have large hands, this is a little bit of a pain. So you just reach in, move it to the right, and lift up. And it's kind of a heavy hood, so I'm assuming it's steel. And it requires a prop to hold it up. So here's the prop. And when you look, there's a significant contour in this hood, so you actually have to really look under the hood to see where to put it. There's a clear arrow, but trying to find it, see, like my eye level is right here. When I lift the hood up, it's not obvious. I have to dip down while holding up this heavy hood and try to find that spot. The underside of the hood is insulated. It also has some rubber seals across the front. They also have some here on the side and the back. So what that does is help with airflow, but also noise. Here's your engine compartment. Now it has an insulated firewall in the back, as well as some heat shielding, because the turbo's back there, building up some heat. There's the insulated battery that's easy to get to. You have your strut towers that are braced in with this, bolted in with this crossbar here all the way to the other side. So you'll notice your intake is here in the front, but you notice the air, the fresh air comes in and goes back that way. It has to go through the turbo, which is powered by the exhaust, before it's transitioned back to the front and into the engine. Under the plastic cover is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged, pumping out 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. And that's paired to a 6-speed Skyactiv drive automatic transmission. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. I think you can see the wood grain a little bit better on this side because of the lighting. So the windows are powered, one touch up and down. Laminated glass here on the front. You see there's 2 panes of glass there. Door lock controls are here. Also, your side mirrors are adjusted, and you turn it all the way to the bottom like so to fold them in. It also has a blind spot monitor indicator, and it's right in here, but you can't really see it. It's right in this area. Unless it's illuminated, it's kind of hard to see where it is. For regular adjustments, you just either pick a side left or right and adjust it with like a little joystick. Then you turn it all the way down in order to fold them in. I also have it set to where you can lock the vehicle and it'll fold in when you lock it and unfold when you unlock it. Okay, so it has 2 presets for your power seat. Of course, the power seat on the driver's side is going to one-up the passenger with the presets and the lumbar adjustments. And also a reminder, these are heated and ventilated seats here in the front. 3-stage heated and 3-stage ventilated. They work really nice. Kind of help out with the kind of taking up the slack of the air conditioner in this vehicle. We'll get to that in the driving portion. To the left of the steering column, you have some buttons. So you have the ability to open up the power lift gate here, turn on the camera system, and I'll show you that in a second, but you can push that button to see it. Parking sensors you can turn on or off, and it has a little indicator light letting you know that they're on or off. The lane departure warning system, you can turn that off here. And then the traction control, you can turn that off. Traction control and stability, you can turn that off. Default will be on. Steering column is tilt and telescoping, and you can lock it in place right here. Here's what the heads-up display looks like, and it's quite bright during the day. I did have to adjust the brightness because it is a little bit of a distraction. Okay, sitting in the driver's seat, checking it out. And I have the seat all the way back and all the way down. Just to give you an idea, I'm 6 feet tall, just to give you an idea of the possible legroom here. So in my particular case, this is where I'd like to drive. Pretty much all the way back. So there's an issue with my legroom here. There's lots of legroom over here, lots of knee room. Okay, less leg room, so I'm kind of stopped by this. The footrest is okay. I like the footrest. This is stopping me there, but there's lots of knee room here. On the right side where your accelerator is, see how far the accelerator is in relationship to the center console, and you can see right in here where it's like, unless your leg is squatted out a little bit, I mean, you see where my foot is disappearing now, and I'm straight on it. So unless my leg is squatted out, if I were to have like in line with my hip, knee, and foot all in line, it's just pressed up against the center console where this accelerator is. So if I have any kind of outward, just trying to get comfortable, it's immediately pressed up against this part. Now it is soft to the touch. Now when I say soft to the touch, it's like draping a rag over an anvil. It's not super soft. It is, you know, eventually, like after just a few minutes of driving this vehicle, this became a significant issue for me as far as a deal breaker, just being able to be comfortable in the vehicle while I'm driving. So I thought that was very strange that this is sticking out so far is competing with your space while you're trying to drive. So I thought that was interesting. And it, you know, maybe it's just me, but if you're interested in this vehicle, I would certainly check this out and make sure that this is not going to be an issue for you. The second one, it could be a safety issue, and that is the steering wheel. The steering wheel is slippery. It's smooth. It's super smooth. So just driving normally, I just got in it and started driving it. There was like 5 minutes into the drive, I was making a turn and my hand slipped. It's very slippery. So unless you really dig in and tighten your grip, and it's a thin steering wheel, so it digs into your bones because it's thin, and then you have to grip it so hard. So it becomes fatiguing after a while. Once you get scared by the steering wheel, like literally just going through a parking lot and you make a turn like this, it's real easy for it to slip. You're like, whoa, you know, and you're not going where you know, especially if you're in a tight space or something, all of a sudden you're not going where you want to go, just because of the slipperiness of this leather wrap steering wheel. I mean, it looks nice and it's tightly wrapped and everything. It has some cool stitching on the inside, but unless you have some sticky fingers or something like that I don't have, that seems a little slippery compared to what I'm accustomed to anyway. So you can judge it for yourself. Overall, the steering wheel looks nice. It has some nice grips there at the top. Cruise control is here on the right side. And it's not just a regular cruise control. Like I mentioned, there's a sensor in the front. It's the adaptive cruise control with the lane departure warning and steering assist. And it's a subtle steering assist, so it doesn't, you know, bother you. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm able to just, you know, drive it normally, and if I need to swerve out of the lane or whatever, you know, going around a cyclist or whatever, it doesn't interfere too much. But it does, it's an all-speed adaptive cruise control, so actually bring you down to a complete stop, and then you tap the accelerator and it'll continue on. It's really nice, and it keeps a good distance. So typically I set a far distance and still a little bit close to the vehicle in front of me. With this adaptive cruise control, it has a nice safe distance, and when it starts slowing down, it's not as scary as some other vehicles. I felt more comfortable in this particular adaptive cruise control system. So you can turn it on, you can cancel, set, and then resume is in the very center. See this portion, you push in the center part, then you have the tilt up and down, and this is your distance between you and the vehicle in front of you. Here on the left side, you have your Bluetooth controls. You can answer calls, hang up. This is your volume for your radio, and the center portion is your voice recognition, so you can bark out commands. This one, these up and down, this is very interesting. This does not have a tune knob in the radio. It just has a volume knob, and it's in a non-traditional place. So I thought when I push these buttons it would tune through the radio station. It does not. If you have the radio on, it'll cycle through presets. So unless you have a bunch of presets ready to go, it's going to randomly go through, you know, or it's not going to go anywhere that you want it to go. So to tune, you have to go in the system and tune to the radio in all these menus and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Now the center button corresponds with the screen between the gauges. Now if you have a like a playlist playing off of your phone, or if you have some device plugged in or whatever, like a USB port flash drive, this will change through your tracks. But in radio wise, it only goes through presets. All right, here on the right side is your windshield wiper controls for your front and rear. It also has an automatic, and I thought it works really good. So when you put it, so right now it's off, you go down to automatic right here. At the very top is mist, then off, automatic. Now the automatic senses just the slightest amount of rain on the windshield and it automatically turns it on your windshield wipers, and it works good. I drove through some rain and I was very satisfied with it. Here on the left side is your turn signal, of course, but also has your headlight controls. You have off, automatic, parking, and headlights. Now the automatic lights is also automatic high beams, and that works pretty good. Now it doesn't work great. I mean, it gets fooled a lot by just lights on the side of the road, and sometimes it, you know, looks like it's flashing other cars or whatever and might get you in trouble. But it does in general work fine, the automatic high beams. And this is your fog light controls. Okay, so these gauges look fantastic. Now there's a lot of unintentional distractions in this vehicle, and I think the intention is to cut down on the distractions, and I think it's kind of backfiring, and in my opinion, but this is really good. You have something that you can easily read. It has a black background, white lettering, popping through, and easy to read these gauges. No digital speedometer here, but it has a digital representation of an analog speedometer. So the only digital speedometer is in the heads-up display. So you have your RPMs there on the left side, speedometer there front and center, and it's on the outside you have some gauges here. So your average miles per gallon. On the right side is your fuel gauge, which also gives you your miles to empty there. This is the odometer of the vehicle. It's easy to wonder what's going on there, why they're so close. It's easy to get them confused. This is how far you can drive before you have to get gas. This is how many miles the vehicle has, okay? And then your engine coolant temperature and your fuel gauge. Remember this button here, the info button? Don't get confused with this up and down button. It's the center portion. Okay, so this is what I'm going to push, and we're going to cycle through some information here. So right now in the center just shows that digital meter, needle I mean. Pushing the button cycles through these little menu system here. So you have trips, A and B. You can independently reset those. You have an average miles per gallon, distance traveled. This is your safety systems with your adaptive cruise control. It'll let you know how far away you are in front of the vehicle and between you and the vehicle in front of you. It'll also show a little vehicle up there when it senses one, and then it has the little lane departure warning lines there that will flash and indicate that whether you're going over the line. Next one is when it's time to service the vehicle. Next one is your distance that you can drive. It's basically the same thing as that. Then it goes off. So basically you have this information here, and you cycle through like so, and that's it. There's not a lot of advanced stuff here in the on the screen between the gauges. Now if you want to change this to kilometers per hour, you see this button right here, you can push that and it changed to kilometers per hour. Push it again, goes back to miles per hour. To turn the knob is your dimmer switch for your interior lights. So you can see this portion at this angle, you can see where the screen begins and then the physical gauges on the outside. Alright, so let's check out this little, looks like a little cell phone sitting here up on the dashboard. And this is one of the things that I think is intending to be less of a distraction, but it's actually going to cause more of a distraction. Because if you can't see it properly, whatever information you're trying to get, then you have to focus on it more. You have to get closer. You got to squint your eyes. You got to go into squint-o-vision mode to try to see something, especially the camera system, and that's going to divert your attention. If it's nice and big and clear, then you can glance at it, you get the information you need like that, and you go back to looking at the road or whatever you're doing. Okay, so in this particular case, this is can be improved, okay, the screen here and how you operate the screen. It is a touch screen, so I can make selections here. I can choose any of these, right? Or I can use this. I can use this little knob here and these buttons around it. So the home button, you push that home button, is the same thing as up here, and this is what it takes you to. And as I turn this knob, I go to these different icons. So the first one is application. This is where you'll find the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto selections, and you have to plug your phone in. Travel link, fuel economy monitor, to give you an idea what's going on there. Let's get back out of that. And then the HD radio and traffic map. So hit the back button here, go into the entertainment. So this is where you can change the audio sources here. So right now we're in FM radio. We can go into the AM, FM, satellite radio, AHA, Pandora, Stitcher, Bluetooth, USB 1, and USB 2. Right now there's nothing plugged in, so it's not allowing me to make those selections. The next one is communications. This is where you can pair your cell phone. You can adjust the different settings there. Actually pop up and let you know if you have an email and stuff. It's pretty neat. And it'll read it to you, but it has to like go through the HTML dialogue forever, so it's not as useful as I thought. Navigation. Alright, so you can see there's the navigation map. We can go into settings and all that stuff. We can hide the buttons. And I wonder if we can pinch zoom. Pretty much, but it's real easy to get off center or recentered. Alright, so let's get out of that. Alright, so the next one is your settings. So this is where you have to go in to adjust your HUD. Typically in a lot of vehicles they have a HUD buttons on the left of the steering wheel, but this one you have to actually go in the settings here on the screen, which could be a little bit of distraction because that HUD is distracting. It gets right there in your vision, and if it's too bright or whatever the case may be, it has too much information in general, I think, I would disable a lot of the stuff. So this is one of the things where you want to go in and set this up before you start driving, because you actually have to go into settings and play around with this, and in order to get it the way it looks good. And while you're driving, you don't know what it's going to look like necessarily until you get out on the highway and you're like, hey, this is a little bit too bright or whatever, and then it's like, well, trying to do it, you can do it technically during while you're driving, but of course that's another distraction. But anyways, you can adjust the height, the brightness, rotation, all that stuff right here, and you use the knob here to go up and down. Now I hadn't figured out a way to get to the next tab other than pushing here on the screen. Okay, so that's kind of a quick rundown. You can turn the screen off. There is a selection, I don't know if you noticed that in the settings, where you can turn the screen off. You do have to go in the settings to do it. Also, you can have it to where it turns off and leave the clock up. So those are options there. Here's your four-way flashers. Heated steering wheel button right there. And here's your climate control. It's a dual zone, driver and passenger. There's the driver and passenger temperature controls. I have them synced right now. And you can see the temperature there, the fan speed, where you want the air to blow, front and rear defrosters, all that stuff. So this is the heated seats, a 3-stage, and the cooled seat, 3-stage. So that's high, medium, and low. So under this, 12-volt power supply, storage compartment here. Here's your shifter. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see the camera system. And this is another issue I had. First of all, the camera is significantly offset, so you can see it's more on one side than the other. You can tell by the tag here, and that also shows through on the top-down camera system. But just in general, this is pretty low resolution. I was very surprised at the low resolution here. So let's push this button, and then we have a top-down view. but you see how disjointed it is. It's not stitched together properly. And there's been several cases in which I was trying to use this camera, even the backup camera. I put it in reverse, so I look at the camera, I'm like, what the heck am I looking at? It was just unusable for me to back up. I literally had to look behind me and look at the mirrors in order to back up, which I normally do anyway, but just if you're relying on the camera, it's a kind of a less useful as other brands. Other brands have this nailed down, especially the stitching together. So you can see the curb here is significantly disjointed, and the resolution is very low. Now the flickering you see is actually part of, conflict with my camera, so it's not flickering in real life. But it is it leaves a lot to be desired here. So you can adjust the brightness and all that stuff here. But anyways, yeah, the camera system, having all those cameras everywhere, and then that's what it provides for you, is not. It's a little bit surprising, anyways. Okay, so, and that's also what will happen when you push this view button. So you can actually push this button, and let's go ahead and put it back in park, and we'll push this button, and we'll get the view in front of you, in addition to the top-down view. Instead of the view behind you, we're seeing in front. And you can see how low resolution and distorted the picture is. Okay, so the shifter is nice. It's comfortable, it looks nice. And you have reverse, drive, or neutral, drive, and then you have a manual mode. You can use it like a ratchet shifter and change through the 6-gear ratios. Now, so far, sport mode has been not as fun to drive. Just regular mode is really fun to drive. Sport mode, just kind of too much engine braking, stuff like that, doesn't make it as fun. You have plenty of acceleration in regular mode. Electronic parking brake, you can engage. It has a little indicator light, and it engages the rear wheels. To release it, you push in the brake and push it down. Auto hold, this will hold the brake for you when you come to a complete stop. So that way, if you have the vehicle in drive and you come to a complete stop at a red light or whatever, this will hold the brake for you until you push the accelerator. And these are the buttons here to control the screen, buttons, and turn knob. And there is your volume knob. So typically your volume knob will be up in this area somewhere, but this one has it down here, which is fine, but there's no tuning knob. So, and also it's within, really, really close reach of some, your child or whatever over here, or somebody over here that wants to play around with it. It's right there. But anyways, it's kind of cool. Once you get used to it, it's nice to have your arm on the armrest, and kind of, it is kind of achy on your wrist if you're doing too much here, since it's a downward reaching thing. But it's kind of neat to have the knob right there, a little bit different. Cup holders are here, and of course, if you have a tall cup in here, that impedes you from reaching the stuff. When your arm is on the armrest, you have to like reach over or something. Okay, so armrest, pretty soft. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I hadn't had any problem with this particular armrest. Just the ones on the door has been kind of narrow, but this one is wide enough. You might be able to share it with your passenger. It's nice and soft. It does bottom out within, I don't know, 5 or 6 millimeters, and it bottoms out, but in general, it's overall comfortable. It lifts up, and it's kind of spring-loaded, so kind of goes up and holds itself up for you, so that way it doesn't flop down on you. I really like that. Has places for wires to go in and out of the compartment here. Has a little removable tray with a felt lining. And here is a storage compartment. It's very small. If you can see in there, it's all black, so I'll put this napkin in there so you can see, hopefully, how big it is. And it has an SD card, but that's for your navigation maps, and then 2 USB ports and a 12-volt power supply. It also has an auxiliary input there. Now you notice that one of these USB ports has a little phone there. That's telling you which port you have to plug in to access the system for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or just in general. The other one is simply a charge port. Rear view mirror is auto dimming, and you can actually turn that feature on or off here. Here's your home link garage door opener controls. This is a felt lined place for your shades or safety glasses or whatever you want to put in there. Interior lights, you can turn them on. Now it doesn't have like I'll show you in the lighting video, it doesn't really have this big dome light that illuminates the whole thing. It has a lot of pinpoint lighting, which is interesting. You can turn on all of the pinpoint lighting right here, or have them turn on with the door as well. It has a little ambient light. This is for your sunroof. We'll get to that in just a minute. So the visor has mirrors and lights, a little extension here, and a little clip on the inside here to put your driver's license, registration, or whatever. Okay, so let's look at the sunroof. So one good thing about it is it has a shade that covers up 100% of the light. So if you don't want any sun on you, you don't have to have any. So you can open that up. You can vent it. Close it. Move it back. All right, that's as far back as it goes. All right, so looking at the visibility, I would say it's pretty good. It does have the little windows in front there in the far back pillars, and it has straight out view in the back, and over your shoulder view is good. Lots of windows there. Good size side mirrors. And I like I don't know if you can see that, I kind of like the way the blind spot detection system is kind of hidden in there. It doesn't distract you too much. That's one good thing. You have some speakers there in that pillar and a little vent here. All right, so thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, questions, or anything, leave it in the comment section. And there's some more extra beauty shots and cool stuff at the end of the video, so you can check that out if you like. Also the window sticker.